That's the advantage to the defined contribution system for the state of Louisiana. For the employee would see his contribution and the state's contribution come into their accounts. He would have control over those investments. He would have the ability to leave state government service and take his money or her money with them when they leave. That's the primary benefit of the defined contribution system. And through conservative investments, I would argue that we could meet or match the investment returns that have been made over the last 10 years by the systems without much difficulty. A bond portfolio, a pure bond portfolio over the last 10 years would in all likelihood have, and which is a conservative way to approach it, would in all likelihood would have achieved returns over 10 years that the active managed state systems have. So that is the first bill, and we're going to discuss that Thursday in great detail. The second bill is a bill by Representative Robideau, and he could not be here today. I was sorry that actually there are two bills, let me back up, there are two bills, 930, 931. 931 is the constitutional amendment, 930 is the statutory provisions of implementing a DC plan and moving away from the DB plan for new hires only. The second bill is Representative Robideau's bill, which is 1337. It takes a little different tack on the approach. And what it says is, we have a financial problem. How do we deal with the financial problem within the defined benefit system? And so, as I appreciated what his bill does, and I've read it once, and I'm talking to him again, he's made some changes, or intends to make a few changes, I think, to it, but basically sets up a new defined benefit system whereby we would still, as a state, have a defined benefit responsibility to the employee, just as we currently do. But it sets a whole different set of standards for new employees only, regarding years of service, regarding when you can retire, regarding contributions to the system, regarding anti-spiking provisions. What is the anti-spiking provision? You take your last 3 years of earnings, average that, and that's what's the primary calculator for what your retirement's going to be if you've served 20, 30, 40 years. Sometimes that works to people's advantage and against the systems, because you can move, as a legislator, for instance, from someone making $16,080 a year in base salary to a secretary or somebody who might make $150,000. Well, if you were in the system when legislators could get retirement, and there is only one member in the House who's still on legislative retirement because of term limits, none of the rest of us have retirement. I'm going to say that again once or twice too. None of us have retirement who have been in the system since 2099 actually. You can take the benefit and use it, the 3 years, and use it to up your retirement. So an anti-spiking provision would take that 3 year and move it maybe to a 5 or a 7 year average to lower it, to make sure that the systems are not put in any kind of financial jeopardy by what would amount to a 3 year out of a 20 or 30 year career change that benefited the individual. Those are the kinds of things that he's doing in his bill, which is, again, 1337. We're going to take this bill up as well on Thursday to talk about what the opportunities are here. Do we get to the same point? I mean, our objective here is to make sure that we're giving a benefit to the employees that's worth having, that we ensure a retirement base for people when they retire, that they have investment income to be able to live off of and enjoy their retirement years. But we're also looking to try to shield the state from what has become an untenable position in dealing with unfunded accrued and poor investment returns. The third bill is, again, one of my bills, House Bill 1229. It creates the State Retirement System Investment Committee and consolidates the investment duties only of the 4 state retirement systems into a commission. We have a lot of good people who serve in the retirement systems, a lot of good folks, but very few of them have what I would consider the investment background necessary from our side, from the buy side of the equation, if you will, to buy the services and understand what we're buying appropriately for a $24-25 billion portfolio. You have people who serve their entire careers in education or in state government or as a state trooper or as a bus driver, and they're making decisions about, should we buy these particular products from who, how much, at what cost, et cetera, et cetera. What my bill does not consolidate the four systems, it leaves the four systems alone for benefit purposes. So if you're a retiree, you still call the same number, you'll still talk to the same person, they'll know your case and be able to work alone that way so that we don't do anything with the four systems. All we do is create a board that will manage the investment portfolios of the four systems individually in their own investment silos, but in a program that protects the state at the state level from these wild investment returns. It puts professionals in place to manage from the buy side, from our side, the risk that we currently have with the investment portfolio. And I think that is a critical factor to working down this unfunded accrued liability over time, to increasing hopefully our rates of return over this 10-year average that we have, and so that we can get back to the point where investments can not only meet the needs of the current cash flow of the systems, but also be putting money aside for additional cost of living adjustments, so that we can grant COLAs to our retirees in the future. I believe this board is a huge step in the right direction for making that happen, because it will bring professionalism to the decisions being made for the four systems. Individually, we're not commingling money. Nobody's at risk in one system over the other, but it would give us a statewide investment policy, if you will, in dealing with the retirement system investments that I think would be far better and far more successful than our current hodgepodge of investment procedures. So those are the three primary bills or four primary bills that we're going to be dealing with. Senator Gautreaux has a bill that I'm not quite familiar with, but I've heard about dealing with the experience account, which would also deal with the COLA issue. But I haven't seen it yet. Maybe you all know more about it than I do to talk about it. But on the House side, this is where we're focused on retirement. Without fixing this problem, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking in the intermediate future of having crowding out by retirement system obligations in the agencies at the expense of health care for the elderly, education for children, and roads for economic development across this state. This is a major problem. It's very complicated. The math is fuzzy math at best, because the actuaries deal in fuzzy math. But it is something that at the end of the day, we know what our obligations are today. They are extremely high, and we must deal with this. Otherwise, we're going to have those problems, as I just said. So with that, I will stop. Those are the four areas that I'm focused on and that many in the legislature are focused on. We've had numerous discussions with the executive branch on these issues, and I feel very confident that we will make progress this year in the retirement area as in the other areas as well. So with that, I will be glad to open it up for questions. Len?
Would you address the issue of Social Security? When I raised this issue in print, I got a flooded inbox of complaints that this is not adequate. We have a defined contribution to Social Security.
Right. That's good. But the question is about Social Security. How does Social Security fit into the defined contribution plan? It can be, we can open up for, and if we close the existing plan, open a new one, we can add Social Security as a component of the total benefit. You just rearrange what percentage of the state and the employees go into Social Security, which percentage goes into the defined contribution plan. You can do it either way. And that's something that we'll have discussions on